Welcome back, everyone. Today's topic is the luxury of absence and how to build a business that runs without you. If you're a leader who is already making multiple six, or even seven figures, today we're going to talk about the ultimate measure of success for any CEO, which is the luxury of absence. And I'm not talking about taking a nice vacation once in a while. I'm really talking about the structural financial luxury of your business running with zero reliance on your daily energy, your input, your presence. And when we first start out our businesses, when we're at zero and we're just getting started, it's a luxury to just not have a boss, right? It's a luxury to work for ourselves. It's a luxury to be home with our families, even if we are working, to not have to ask for PTO, to have the extra funds to buy something nice or to get some support. But there is a level of luxury beyond that. And here's how you know that you're ready for this level of luxury, which I'm calling the luxury of absence. When your revenue is intrinsically tied to your daily energy output and input into the business, if you're the chief doer, the lead salesperson, the ultimate bottleneck that you haven't been able to fix this problem. Or if you look at your quarterly revenue or your yearly revenue and you realize that every single dollar was earned through your physical, mental, and emotional output and your input into the business. And the reality, if this is the case, is if you step away from your business for 2-3 weeks, if you get sick, you want to take a maternity leave, you want to, just give yourself a sabbatical for a little bit. If you disconnect completely to focus on the vision, the strategy, or even just your family and living life, the machine stalls out, right? Sales dry up, client fulfillment lags. It means you own a high-paying, high-stress job, and you do not own a sellable, scalable asset. True scale, unrelatable scale, is defined by founder independence, period. The goal is a business architecture so robust that it absolutely is indifferent to your presence for daily operations. That's the idea. It runs without you because you designed the systems and the systems run the business. So today I'm going to break down 4 foundational pillars of that architecture, the 4 shifts that are going to be required for you to transform your high-paying job into a sellable, self-sustaining asset and become the designer of your legacy. So the first one is going to begin with a really critical question, and one that may not seem like you should have to answer it. But the question is, what are you selling? And if you're already making 6 or multi-6 or even 7 figures in your business, you're probably thinking, I already know what I'm selling. I'm selling a lot of it, in fact. But the fatal flaw of most service providers, the coach, the consultant, it's that you generate a majority of your revenue through a low leverage time for money exchange. You sell hours, you sell custom packages, you sell one-on-one spots, you sell done-for-you client delivery. And this model does have a really low financial overhead, which is why I like to start a lot of my newer and growing entrepreneur clients with a lot of these offers. But as you scale, it becomes the most expensive business model on earth because every dollar requires more of your finite hours and it creates a ceiling on the business. So instead of a time for money exchange, we want to be looking into building a value for money exchange where you sell a repeatable solution powered by your intellectual property and not by your time. To achieve the luxury of absence, you're going to have to design an offer ecosystem that supports new client attraction and retention without trading time for money. So here are a few elements of that. First, your low ticket offers have to act as a filter. They're not a primary revenue stream. I see a lot of people these days running SLO funnels, self-liquidating offer funnels, or low ticket offer funnels. And I think the perception from the outside is that these funnels are some sort of magical revenue generation system based on volume, that if you can run enough ads to your low ticket funnel, you will become a millionaire and you won't even have to touch anything. That is not, in fact, how they work. And as somebody who has a very successful low ticket offer funnel in their business to the tune of $400,000 in the last year just from that funnel, they don't act as the primary driver of profit. They're a vetting mechanism for your premium buyer. They're something that attracts and vets and pre-qualifies your premium buyers, they're not a primary driver of profit. It can look from the outside, if someone's running a ton of ads to a low ticket offer, that they're making their money off of that low ticket offer. That is not the case. That person is highly likely to be using that low ticket offers. If the person is smart and if the person has a business model that is working at scale, they're using that low ticket offer as a filter and a qualifier for their premium buyers. The sole purpose of those low ticket offers is to attract the premium buyer. It's the instant attraction and vetting of a committed client who proves that they value speed and execution, proves that they're going to make a purchase quickly, and somebody who proves that they're a good fit for the rest of the offer ecosystem. It's an offer that's attractive to someone who's going to get great results in your business. It's not attractive to anyone else. That's the idea. We're not trying to make a few $100s off of the low ticket offers. We're not trying to sell digital products as the full business model. Rarely does that work without building a giant audience, which you probably do not have time for. You're not going to make multi-millions off of a low ticket offer. It's part of an offer ecosystem, and it functions as the primary filter by which you attract clients. We're trying to get a commitment early on from the premium buyer. That's the goal. So the second thing you could add into this offer ecosystem is a scalable core offer. And this is something that leverages not your time, but your intellectual property as what you're selling. So I would say probably 80+% of your revenue should be reliant on things like group containers, masterminds, team delivered done for you services, or hybrid models, things that are not one-on-one. And also, by their nature, low ticket offers are very unlikely to fill this role. I'm not talking about basic group coaching. I mean structures where you sell a transformation via a documented framework, your proprietary intellectual property, not the transformation through your personal one-on-one energy. The transaction is not, I'm going to pour X amount of energy into you and you'll get this result. It's, I've created a process, a system, a documented structure and framework by which this transformation is possible. That is what your clients will be purchasing. So therefore, your job shifts from performing the transformation on behalf of the client to facilitating the transformation through your system. You see where we've made that time for money exchange into a value for money exchange. Then we can also introduce into this offer ecosystem high retention, automated recurring revenue models. These are maintenance offers, things that your clients can retain and stay into for a long time. These are quiet, consistent streams that compound without your daily oversight. So it sort of stabilizes the entire financial engine, gives you that monthly recurring revenue that's so stabilizing for your business and also really nervous system regulating for you. Your core product now, instead of being time with you or your effort or your energy facilitating the transformation, it has to be the architecture of the business. It's your architecture, not your attendance. So that's one. What are you selling? The next pillar of the luxury of absence is a profound identity shift for your brand. Being relatable built your brand on your personality, your daily story, your presence. You. It built the brand on you. And not saying that a scaled brand can't be built on you, but it's something fundamentally different. If every sale, every win, every piece of authority is tethered to your visibility, you're going to have a real problem when you want to step away from the business. If you take a vacation, if you go quiet, the brand goes quiet. The sales cycle stops. This creates a massive point of failure for a scaling business. So to create the luxury of absence, you have to transfer the authority and the visibility and the celebrity to the methodology and the movement, not to you as a person. To do that, it's really helpful to first sort of define the enemy. And not to say build a cult, but this is something that's very, very typical of cults is they define an enemy. It's us against who, us against what false belief, structure, system, bad strategy does your brand exist to destroy or exist in opposition to? For my brand, it's being relatable, women being relatable, and the hustle business. Those are the two things that my brand and the people involved in my brand are against. That's the enemy, right? Your audience sort of needs a clear villain so they can instantly align themselves with your solution. Second thing is to sell your method. Your proprietary framework has to be the hero. It can't be you. It can't be if I wave my magic wand over my clients get results. It has to be your intellectual property. The client is then buying into not you, not time with you, but rather a documented, tested, repeatable method, the proven system that's then fully transferable to your executive team. So you don't actually have to be the one to deliver that now. You created it, you created the structure. You don't necessarily then have to also be the one to deliver it. It collapses the vetting time for the premium buyer who wants speed and certainty. They vet the system, not your Instagram stories. They don't have to sit around and build know, like, and trust with you as a person for as long because they're not buying the person. They're buying the system. They evaluate the system itself, the process, the structure, and they decide if it makes sense for them and if it's going to deliver the results that they want. When the methodology is the star of the show and not you, that's the unrelatable outcome, right? The brand's value is now independent of your energy. It's independent of your current mood, your schedule, even your current visibility, whether you want to go online that day. It allows you to step away from the business knowing the movement is still active, the business is still active, still attracting, still converting clients. Pillar 3 of building the luxury of absence is where the doing stops and the engineering kind of begins. And many business owners do not enjoy this portion because it's systems, but I happen to love systems. My clients all love systems because they understand what the systems do for their business. Corporate America is run as it is for a reason. And I know many of us stepped away from corporate America for various, office politics, trading our time for money, things like that. But it's built that way for a reason. And if we want to get away from trading our time for money in our business, much like an employee would, we have to implement some of these structures inside of our own businesses. This is the executive shift. It's how you automate client attraction so the business runs predictably without you creating content all the time. If you're relying on a fresh burst of inspiration to decide what to post every day, you're not acting as the CEO, you're a content creator. That model's not scalable. When we stop creating random content and start running, for example, my C4 marketing framework through documented transferable messaging, that's when we can start to systematize things like content creation that previously you maybe believed only relied on you and that only you could do. You have to implement a system powered by non-negotiable SOPs. So for example, your team uses your documented messaging, your case studies, your testimonials, content you've already created as the core. They then repurpose things, they rewrite things, they perhaps use AI if you use AI in your business to create individual pieces of content that are all informed by a system and a documented messaging structure that you've already created in your business. They post, you approve the strategy. It's as simple as that. You move from a journalist who writes every single story themselves to the editor-in-chief who kind of ensures the magazine, the publication, is consistent and strategically aligned. Next, I want to talk about paid acquisition. I don't know why it has become a thing in our industry to say, I built to X amount without ads. So you did it the slow way. Congratulations, you did it the slow way. Organic is not better than ads. It's just that you can, if you run them poorly, if you run them through an organic system that's not working, waste a lot of money on ads. But once your marketing funnel, your C4 marketing funnel is validated, converting organically, you can transition to paid client acquisition very easily. And this is sort of the final step in decoupling your time from your revenue. Because your revenue becomes a function then of ad spend and the messaging system that your team is executing, not your time spent online, your time spent posting. And it's predictable, controllable scale because at a certain point you're able to go, because you know all of your conversion rates all the way down the funnel. If I put X amount into ads, I get this many clients out. The average lifetime value of that client is X amount. So if I put $1 into ads, I get $5 back. You will know what your lifetime return on ad spend is for each client acquired through this method. It's so predictable, and you can just choose how large you want to scale. How far can you go? How big can your systems handle? And you just adjust on the back end. The goal here is really simple. Create more high quality pre-vetted leads from automation and paid traffic and messaging that is standardized than you ever could from personal hustle and what comes out of your brain that day. And finally, pillar 4, we're almost done. We're going to make this happen one way or another. The true job shift of a CEO. You're not hiring VAs to do tasks anymore. At scale, you're hiring partners, team members to own outcomes in your business. You're not just saying, here, do this one little task, check the support inbox. Their job is to own the outcome. There's a difference between check the support inbox and respond to the emails, delegating a task, and I want to make sure that everybody who emails our team feels supported, feels like they got their issue taken care of, and I want those issues taken care of quickly and with as few emails back and forth as possible. That's an outcome, right? One is, here's the task. The other one is, here's how I want the business to operate, and I want you to own that portion of the business operations. There's a difference between asking someone, please post this to Instagram, and telling someone, maintain a consistent social media presence that's aligned with our messaging and our mission. That's an outcome. The fatal flaw of a bottleneck founder is outsourcing individual tasks instead of transferring entire documented systems and outcomes to their team. The SOP, standard operating procedure, is essential. Nothing is delegated until it has a non-negotiable, repeatable SOP. The documentation helps you and it helps your team. It provides security, clarity, which eliminates your team's fear that they won't get it done right. It empowers them to perform the tasks and take ownership of that outcome. And your job description changes as well. So you're not just, again, delegating to your team. You have a brand new job description as the CEO of your business. Your job is now high-level leverage. Number 1, vision and strategy, setting the 3-year plan and defining what the offer architecture is going to look like. Number 2, systems review. You're auditing your freedom engine, which we talked about in a previous episode. You're checking metrics, process flow, making sure that your systems and the architecture of the business is built to hold the scale that you are trying to build. And leadership. As the CEO, you're the leader of your business. You're managing your team, protecting your boundaries, mandating how much you want to be in the business, how much your team is in the business, what the office hours are, managing people. You have to get really good at managing people if you're going to have a team of any size. The goal is to replace yourself as the service provider with the team, and now you're the designer of the business as an asset. So the luxury of absence is going to require those 4 non-negotiable pillars: scalable offer architecture, a movement-driven brand, not one that's based on your own visibility, transferable systems that you can give to your team and have them own the outcomes, and team ownership and your new role as the CEO. Congratulations, you have the blueprint. You understand the structural shifts that have to occur on the back end of your business to give yourself the gift of the luxury of absence from your business, a business that you can actually step away from without the engine turning off. But building this architecture is going to require high-level custom executive mentorship. Here's the urgency. You can spend 18 months trying to build this alone, never having done it before. How successful are we typically at things that we haven't done before? Not very successful. You can build it alone, which is expensive, exhausting. It's trial and error, where one misstep in your offer structure or your funnel or the structure on the back end of your business, your systems, your team can cost you tens of thousands of dollars and months. Or you can secure a seat at the designer's table and implement a proven system with high-level guidance. So I'm inviting you to apply for the Unrelatable Mastermind. This is not a chaotic group program that's built for scale. It's a very intimate space. This is an exclusive executive partnership where we stop asking you to work harder and start mandating your freedom through elite architecture of your business. We provide one-on-one access, group strategy, mindset support from a licensed therapist, the accountability you need to execute these 4 pillars flawlessly inside your business in as little time as possible. So if you're ready to stop arguing for your limitations, if you're ready to give yourself the luxury of absence, if you are ready to uncouple yourself, your energy, your input from the revenue of your business, then it's time to become an unrelatable CEO who owns a sellable multi-7-figure asset. The link to apply is in the description. Your commitment to the luxury of absence begins now.